Alright, Laser Ninjas here with a Slug and Mega and Hasbro SledgeFire round proper use video. It's been a long time overdue. Apologize for the length of time. We've been making the Slug and Mega Fire in rapid iterations after getting feedback, and some of those iterations have introduced problems. Some of those iterations were designed to reduce problems but introduce other problems. Some features have been removed intentionally from the first version, so some of those maybe expected features are now gone, so we just wanted to touch base on all that. So the first thing, if you're not aware, is that this is the Mega and Slug Fire. Obviously this one fires the Mega darts, and this one fires any kind of streamline or whistle or tips or anything like that, and this is the stock Hasbro part here. Okay, so this is the parts we work on. So let's just start with the Hasbro product. So this is what people are assuming we're trying to emulate, and I say emulate loosely because we're not actually emulating this. There's a lot of things that we're not doing intentionally, and a lot of things we're avoiding intentionally. Some of them may be legal, but most of them are functional, and we'll get into that right now. So the first problem is you only get 3 of these. So what happens when you lose it? It's gone, right? Sucks. So the first thing we wanted to do was make ones that actually are replaceable. The reason that is because I lost one. Surprise, surprise. Just carrying my extra shells around like so, and I was running around in battle and went for my refill and found my stock like this. It should have had 3 rounds in it, but it had none. The sling I was wearing at the time was on my back and was allowing the blaster to flop around, and while jogging through half of Golden Gate Park, I dropped this ABS plastic in the park. So not only did I lose my rounds, but I'm now littering toxic materials in my favorite park. I'm not a fan. I attributed this basically to Hasbro's design. You can kind of see there's a little tab. If you look in the middle one there, you see those 2 thin blue lines. Those are bracketing a tab. It's not a very high tension tab. You can see the lip of it there. It doesn't hold it very well, and it basically just grips onto the side here, that lip. Okay. Not a lot of material there to grab onto, so these fall out. This is basically what spawned the creation of this. We actually duplicated this exactly, 3 shots, the whole thing, made it so you could fit streamlines in the back and all that. And you know what? It's just as bad as the Hasbro product. So we never sold that product, we never released the file, we never did anything with it. It's also a direct copy of this Hasbro product, so there's no need to get into a patent lawsuit over something that sucks. So anyway, we moved on. We made a different product that it is not infringing and actually adds some features. This one here is unclean. This is how it comes off the printer. I'm showing you this because some people think that we like carve these or something like that. They come off just like this. I'm trying to get it here. So you see these little zigzag patterns? Those have to be cleaned out with a file or a pair of pliers. It takes about 3 seconds. But that's really all the cleaning that we need to do. It's just part of the process. Yep. So this is what a clean one looks like. See, there's no zigzags. And what basically we're talking about here is the region that the valve pins travel into. So when this thing is seated, that depth is how much these are getting opened. So it's getting about 4 millimeters or so depth, so it's opening these up basically all the way. Because the design is not symmetrical, meaning that like this valve's on the left, this valve's on the left, this valve's on the other side. There's no way to make our product that only lines up here and then has a fully straight path. So someone else asked about that, and we had actually investigated that and found that due to this, it wasn't really viable. You could, of course, just pull these things out, or you know, on your own do that if you need to. But our part basically makes it so you don't have to do that. You can leave your blaster unmodified in that regard, which is nice. So here I should also mention that there's a small seal, a rubber seal, that's actually incorporated into the head here. This helps seal up the back of this part. So if you notice, the Hasbro product has a very fine rim or ridge that just travels around. That little ridge actually bites in to this rubber, and that's the seal. That's how this unit seals. It's not good. It's just not good. That's why these rounds aren't that good, honestly. You can feel air escaping out the side of the blaster, which tells us that it's a bad seal, even with this gasket. So two things we did, we increased the lip width. So the area of interaction here on the Hasbro product is basically like a 0.5 millimeter thick or millimeter thick. It's very thin, very thin. Our part, the entire bottom interacts with this. So the entire flat surface creates a seal. Okay. The problem here, or the problem that people experience, is that the blaster, as Hasbro designed, it isn't designed for that. We basically, through exhaustive testing, have found out the limitations of what the blaster will accept, and we print that. And we do this for a few reasons I'll get into in a minute, but the first thing is that people have a hard time closing it. The gap between the barrel and the blaster varies. It varies based on the build, it varies based on how much you've used it, etc. So we used to make them thinner, but then people with loose builds or over time, 100, 200 shots, would start to experience air leak out the side. So we started making them thicker, and then people started experiencing issues with not being able to close it. We had probably 5 people with that complaint, and we had 3 of those people send their part back, and literally the part works. It's just they were afraid to shut it with enough force as required. So here I'm just using one finger, not enough force, but do the standard slam it shut and it's shut. This is designed. This is not, people are like, oh, it's too thick, your part doesn't work or whatever. That's the design. My camera operator is out sick today, so it's just me. But anyway, so that's the design. It's supposed to be difficult. It's not supposed to be difficult because we hate you. It's supposed to be difficult because air hates you, and air doesn't want to fire the dart. It wants to go out the side door. So we try to limit its ability to escape anywhere but out the front. So this is probably the #1 complaint we get, is that it's just difficult to close. As a absolute last resort, we'll have people sand the very bottom of this. Just get it on put sandpaper on a block and just very lightly just drag it down until you've removed a layer or 2 of material. There is a discrepancy of about 0.3 millimeters per part. So potentially your blaster is really tight, and potentially you got a thicker than usual part, and that results in the one time that a part did not actually allow the blaster to close. So anyway, again, it's supposed to be hard. Sorry if you think it's too much. If it doesn't feel like the injection molded ABS plastic part made by the Billions, I apologize. I'm not Hasbro. I can't make this. I wouldn't want to if I could. We are trying to make this quality of this, but it's about $10,000 worth of hardware. So baby steps. We'll get there. So again, a little difficult. It's supposed to be. As far as ejection, we've had some complaints about it not coming out appropriately. We tracked that down to being an issue with the actual labeling here, the Slug. The new versions actually have this recessed instead of slightly sticking out, so there's no more drag on the inside of the barrel that was restricting the movement. If for some reason your part doesn't stay locked in, it's because these little side rails, where it steps off, is rounded or maybe has some support material still dangling there. So you could just notch it there, sandpaper, razor blade, just take a little bit of material out that bottom edge, and that's basically where it gets caught here. So if this isn't allowed to move up, it's not going to lock your part. So make sure that that little part, the top there, is clean. There's a clean line there. So that basically covers the SledgeFire and the major questions and complaints we get about how this is not this. It's not supposed to be. The Megafire introduces a couple other interesting situations. We're going to be removing the orientation, rejection, and whatnot function. We've already removed it from the SledgeFire. If you weren't aware, that basically allowed you to install it one way and then have it eject, and then if you install it the other way, it would be retained. We thought this would be a usable feature, but a lot of our feedback from users was that this was not usable, and this created issues with the part getting ejected or staying in, and then them trying to pry it out of there and then breaking the lip off. So, alright, sorry to shut off that annoying beeping. The Megafire has gotten fewer complaints. We feel maybe it's just people have different expectations. Not really sure what that's about, but they seem to be better. Same problem, doesn't close correctly, same resolution, try harder, or as a last resort, shave it down with some sandpaper. We do test every part that comes out of here in our blasters, so we're pretty confident that they fire and work when we ship them. So if something's not right, we're happy to help. It's probably just operator error, no offense. So the final part, also you probably see this in our videos, this is not for sale. The hot oven designed something similar to this, and as a proof of concept and as a favor for handing over the design, we modified it for 3D printing and printed some, and we actually owe him some. And actually you see his, right here. Anyway, I owe him one of these, so still getting it perfected, but it will be in the mail. Thanks, Chase, the hot oven. Anyway, so the final complaint we get and we should address is the stock. So this is what I started the video with and why we started this whole endeavor. And that's basically that people are expecting this kind of functionality. I think just a little drop in, a little press in, and now your part is ready to get lost in the jungle. Okay, so remember how I said I don't like that? There's a reason. Don't lose your parts. You lose these things, it's $35 for a new SledgeFire. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so our first iteration just had it slip right out. We weren't even really using the stock. We thought it would be cool, but we figured, why? What's the point? Yeah, the retention mechanism is not that good. Moving on, people were complaining that they wanted retention, they really needed it. They wanted to someplace to hold it. Especially when we came out with the Mega, they wanted a place to be able to hold the different types of ammo. So what we did is we redesigned the base plate to take advantage of this three-dimensional shape. So this gets maybe a little advanced for some people, but this shape here, this triangle with rounded corners, is a two-dimensional shape, but the fact that it has depth and a linear line gives it a third dimension. So what we recommend people do is when they're loading it, to load it at an angle. See how that works? See how it doesn't fit here, but it does fit at an angle. So if you load it at an angle, set this down. Did you see that? You couldn't see that. Okay, so brand new part. We'll use the labeling in first at an angle. You see that? Alright, no magic tricks, ladies and gentlemen. It fits in the stock. I'm going to pull it back out. Now notice how, let's just do this. Can Hasbro claim this? Can you pick up your whole blaster by your ammo? No, you can't. So when we get a request to make something better, we make it better, like way better, like so better that people think it sucks because it doesn't work as well as the crap we're replacing. Okay, maybe you can't hold your ammo up with this, but the point being, it's not going to fall out. Again, we're happy to take criticism, we're happy to take feedback. We've obviously, this is like version 11 now we're working on, so we're happy to keep the iterations coming and get down to a product that works for everybody. But they say you can't please everybody all the time, so we just please ourselves first and then make it available to the public, and hopefully that's enough. Laser Gnomes out.